They said he was dead. They buried him. They cried for him. They mourned him for 7 days. But far away, in another land, he was eating, laughing, and living his life. How is this possible? Stay with me, because this story will shake you. In a village called Oke-Ala, there lived a man named Emeka. Now, Emeka was not just any man. He was the kind of man that made people smile when he walked into a room. He was generous. He was hardworking. He loved his family more than anything in this world. His wife, Adaeze, was beautiful and kind. They had 3 children. And every evening, Emeka would sit outside his house, watch the sunset, and say the same words. God has been good to me. But life does not always stay the same. One dry season, a great opportunity came calling. A man from the city visited the village and told Emeka about a business in a faraway land. Across the border. Many days of travel away. Come, the man said. The money is good. Your family will never suffer again. Emeka thought about it for many nights. He looked at his children. He looked at his wife. And he made a decision. Emeka packed a small bag. He hugged his children tight. He held his wife for a long time. I will be back, he told her. 3 months. Just 3 months. Adaeze did not want him to go. Something in her heart felt heavy. But she smiled for him. Because that is what love does, it lets go, even when it is afraid. Emeka left with the city man and 2 others. For the first few days, the journey was smooth. They traveled through forests, crossed rivers, and passed through many villages. But then, on the 3rd day, it happened. Their vehicle was moving fast on a rough road. The driver tried to avoid a deep hole in the ground. The car swerved. It flipped once. Then again. There was dust. There was noise. There was silence. When people came to help, 2 men were pulled out alive. But Emeka was not moving. Word travels fast in Africa. By the time the sun set that day, a messenger had already reached Oke-Ala village. Emeka is dead. Those 3 words destroyed everything. Adaeze fell to the ground and screamed. A scream so painful, the birds flew away from the trees. The children cried without understanding why. The whole village came out. Old women. Young men. Children. Everyone loved Emeka. They performed the burial rites. They sang the mourning songs. They buried an empty coffin, because his body was far away and could not be brought back. For weeks, Adaeze were black. She stopped eating well. She cried every night. The children asked, Mama, when is Papa coming home? And every time, her heart broke all over again. Now here is where the story turns. Because far away, in a land across the border, a man woke up in a small room. His head hurt. His body was wrapped in cloth. He had been unconscious for many days. When he opened his eyes, he saw a kind old woman sitting beside him. You are awake, she said softly. We thought we had lost you. The man blinked. He looked around. Everything was unfamiliar. He tried to speak. He tried to remember. But his memory, it was gone. He could not remember his name. He could not remember his village. He could not remember his wife or his children. The accident had taken something from his mind. The old woman's name was Mama Busy. She had found him on the road that day, the only one thrown far from the vehicle. People had assumed he was dead. But Mama Busy had seen his chest moving, barely, like a candle in the wind. She had carried him home on a wooden cart. She had fed him, nursed him, prayed over him. And now, he was alive. But he did not know who he was. The people in Mama Busy's village called the man stranger. Over time, They gave him a new name, Kofi. It meant born on a Friday. Because that was the day Mama Busy found him. Kofi was a good man. Even without his memory, his character remained. He helped people. He worked hard. He was gentle and kind. The village loved him. A young woman named Fatima began to love him too. Time passed. Kofi married Fatima. They had a child together. He had built a whole new life. But deep inside him, something always felt incomplete. Like a song missing its last note. Like a fire with no fuel. Sometimes, in the middle of the night, he would wake up suddenly, a heart beating fast, with the feeling that someone, somewhere, was crying for him. He could never explain it. But the feeling never left. They say in the old African proverb, no matter how long the night, the morning must come. 3 years passed. One day, a traveling trader came to Kofi's village. A man from far away. When this trader saw Kofi in the market, he stopped walking. He stared. He blinked. He stared again. Then he whispered one word, Emeka. Kofi turned around. Do you know me? The trader's hands were shaking. You are Emeka. From Oke-Ala. Your wife is Adaeze. You have 3 children. Everyone thinks you are dead. The words seemed to stop. Kofi, Emeka, felt something crack open inside his chest. Like a door that had been locked for years suddenly swinging wide open. Images began to flash in his mind. A sunset. A woman's smile. Children laughing. A small house. The smell of palm soup. He grabbed the trader by the shirt and said, tell me everything. What happened next, nobody in Oke-Ala village would ever forget. It was a regular afternoon. Adaeze was fetching water from the well. Her children were playing nearby. She heard a commotion at the edge of the village. People were shouting. Running. Some were crying. Some were laughing. She dropped her pot. She began to walk toward the noise. Then she saw him. Thin. Older. But him. Emeka. She could not move. She thought she was dreaming. She thought grief had finally broken her mind. Then he spoke. Adaeze. Just her name. Nothing else. She ran. She ran and ran and ran. And when she reached him, she held him so tight, as if letting go would mean losing him again forever. The children came running. They did not fully understand, but they held on too. The whole village gathered. Old women who had mourned him sat down and cried again, this time with joy. But joy is never simple, is it? Because Emeka had a wife in Adaeze. And a life with Fatima and their child in the other land. He remembered now. He remembered everything. And he was torn in two. Fatima was innocent. She had loved a man who could not even tell her his real name. She had given him a child. Adaeze had suffered for 3 years. She had mourned, she had struggled, she had raised their children alone, all for a man who was walking and breathing in another village. The elders of Oke-Ala gathered. This was not a matter for one man to solve alone. They spoke. They prayed. They deliberated. In the end, it was Adaeze who said the most powerful words. She said, I am not angry at a man who lost his memory. I am only grateful that God brought him back to me. The other woman must not suffer because of what fate did to us. Let us find a way that does not destroy anyone. The whole village went quiet. That woman had the heart of 1,000 warriors. My people, this story teaches us so many things. It teaches us that death is not always what it looks like. It teaches us that memory is a powerful gift, and when it is taken, even the best man can lose himself. But above all, it teaches us the power of a woman's love. Adaeze did not let bitterness eat her heart. She chose grace. She chose to rebuild. And that is the most powerful thing any human being can do. Because in the end, it is not suffering that defines us. It is how we rise after it. If this story moved you, please do not leave without pressing that like button. Share this video with someone who loves a good African story. And if you are new here, welcome to the family. We tell stories that touch the soul. Subscribe now, so you never miss a tale. Until next time, stay wise, stay kind, and remember. In Africa, every story has a lesson. And every lesson is a gift.